What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Tesla today at the request of Flower Child. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, okay? The purpose of this video is essentially to determine where the next price stop is for Tesla, where it's going to go in the weeks and the months to come. And then also give you some short-term stuff where I think it'll be by the end of this week, where I think it'll be by the end of the month, and then maybe even a little bit further out from there. So if that sounds good to you, hit the like button. Let's get into it. Here we go. $428 right now, with a high last month of $488. You saw new all-time highs, pull back a little bit. I have the utmost confidence that Tesla is right now in the midst of price exploration. I think it is, right? You're above currently. You're above your previous all-time highs. I think we're firmly entrenched in price exploration. Every time we've done that, we've been in this price exploration kind of phase. Even in the beginning, we see some immaculate moves. Then we move sideways for a little bit, but then immaculate moves. Boring at times, immaculate at times, right? We've been boring for a little while. I was really curious to see how long we'd be consolidating for, because that last time that Tesla consolidated was for a very long time, right? Whereas this one wasn't as long. This was something in between, which makes the most sense in my opinion. But here we are breaking out of it. There's no doubt that we are on our way to higher prices. So where are those going to be? Where's that target going to be? My assumption would be that it's somewhere between the 1618 of this extension to the 2618 of this extension. That's my assumption. Somewhere in that range. But let's just see how accurate that could be. I mean, the 261, that's a lot. That's a lot, but I don't know. Let's see. What's Tesla's market cap right now? 1.37 trillion. 1.37 trillion. I mean, that would make it basically a $10 trillion market cap. Could it happen? I suppose it could happen. I don't know, man. It's possible. A lot of people look at that and they hear that and they're like, that's crazy, it would never happen. But man, the first time a company was talked about being valued at $1 trillion on a market cap valuation, people laughed at that too, right? The dollar got weakened. It got weakened a lot, you guys. The COVID years were not good to the dollar. Inflation was rampant. What doesn't make sense to me, and it makes sense that the stocks and that crypto corrected and crashed because inflation was high, because when inflation's high, people are worried, right? And risk on assets like stocks and cryptos are not good whenever people are worried, right? But the thing is inflation still happened. And what is inflation? What does inflation do? It weakens the dollar. In other words, it makes everything else more valuable. So what I'm trying to say is, while this company that has been valued at $1 trillion market cap, even in the midst of high inflation, is now in breakout territory after the aftermath of all that inflation, I think it's completely, I think that as high as $10 trillion is, and that's more money than any of us could ever fathom, I think that it's more attainable now than it was back then, right? It's much more attainable. And what's crazy is, and the thing that I like about this is, that's a 4,000, think about it like this. It's a $4,000 number. That's a psychological level, right? It's a very perfect rounded psychological number in itself, okay? It's about a 10x from the current price, another kind of psychological level. People might take profit. It's also right at $10 trillion, another psychological level. And just the 2618 as itself, the golden ratio of an extension, just it all makes a lot of sense. And then we've also proven that Tesla, from a high to a low, it likes to see deeper extensions. It really does like to see deep extensions. But this is a pretty deep correction here, so I don't think you'll see deeper extensions. I think the deepest you would see is the 2618. So that's why I'm addressing it. That's the maximum potential. That's not where I think it's going to go by the end of the cycle, but I accept it as a possibility. Where I would assume Tesla goes more so by the end of this cycle, and I say by the end of the cycle, I mean like by the end of this year of 2025, if not by the end of the year or by the beginning of the year in 2026, something around 1,400 to 2,400, something in this range, right? I certainly expect it breaks above 1,000. I don't think it stops there, but that's like my most pessimistic outcome. And I don't believe it sees 4,000, but I accept it as a possibility. And it makes a lot of sense on a few different things. Other than just $10 trillion, man, I would feel comfortable making that call because it is so bold, but I don't feel comfortable making that call because even with all the facts that I stated, I don't know. Is it worth, like, that's a lot of money. We're talking about things that are outside of my areas of expertise. So I'd prefer to not put it out there as a definite. So we're going to put it out there as a possibility, not even a maybe, but just a possibility, right? Bearish possibility, bullish possibility, realistic probability, right? Something between, I think, 1,400 to 2,400, 2,500 by the end of the cycle is what we would expect. So you're in the midst of that move now. It took all that time just to come to that point because I think it's very important to keep your to keep your mind focused on the future, because there will be ups and downs on this path all the way there, right? Or at least it's not going to look like that. It basically will just be a straight line, but this is a month-to-month basis. Each one of these candles is 1 month. Each month there's going to be volatility. So as long as you have your eyes on the prize, you'll be good, right? So it's not a good time to sell now. It's definitely not a good time. You just broke out of your all-time highs. Not a good time to sell now. These are the areas that we're looking to sell. Something between 14 to 2,500. Not financial advice, just my opinion. And potentially as high as $4,000. You could, if you were to be conservative or risk averse, maybe once you hit $1,000, that's when you start taking profits off, right? You've been DCAing in, you've been buying here and there periodically. You start to DCA out at 1,000 or higher would be my guess. But truthfully, I probably wouldn't start DCAing out until you're around 1,400 or higher. But you're at 428 now. That's the expectations for the end of the cycle, which I think are going to be by the end of 2025, if not the beginning, like the first quarter of 2026 is my expectations. Sometime late 2025, early 2026. Now let's get into this end of week expectation. We have 2 days left. Tomorrow is Thursday. Today technically is Wednesday still. Daily time frame looking bullish as hell. Looking like you're moving up, breaking out of this zone. I would bet over the next 2 days you do move up more. You have four. Before I say that, let me look at the 1 hour. Yeah, I like the 1 hour. I like the 3 hour too. Okay, cool. So yeah, probably up to 440 to 450. I would guess 440 to 450 is where you're at by the end of the week. The highest I'd give you is 461, but I don't think you're there. I think you're 440 to 450 by the end of the week. You're at 428 now. That's all I got for you guys. If you like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Remember, Monday next week, we do not have a stock day. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It is the inauguration. So it'll be Tuesday next week that the stock market opens. But we got tomorrow and Friday. In that time, Tesla goes from 428 to 440. That's my expectations. All right, hit that like button, subscribe. Bye-bye. I'll see you on the next one.